This video goes through coding and data analysis, and in particular, I will be sharing some useful questions to keep you in check, to keep you in control once you start doing your first round of data coding and theme development. It really relates to thematic developments, say for analysis types like thematic analysis, reflexive, other types of thematic analysis, but they're equally very useful if you're doing other type of data analysis. And some inspiration was taken from Brown and Clark's book, Thematic Analysis, A Practical Guide, which was published in 2021 by Sage Publications. So say you've done your first round of coding. You've got your interviews, you've got a bunch of interviews, you started coding and assigning codes for your transcripts and your data, and then you had, say, a first go at coming up with themes. So this is really concerning the first round of this coding exercise. So I've put together some 5 questions to help you think about what do these codes mean exactly. So the first question that you can ask is, what data and themes am I looking at? And why specifically these data, coding style and theme development? So look at the data. You look at whether in hand, whether you've got them manually or on the screen. Think about the codes that you came up with and think about the first round of themes that you started to develop. Why exactly these data? Why did you code in this way in particular? Think about the coding style that you used. Are you drawn into what people are saying exactly as it is, or are you drawn to a meaning that is coming up out of what people are saying? Because these are totally different styles altogether. And then think about the theme development as well. What are you looking at in here? The second question that would help you is, during this first stage, is how do these relate? How do these codes and themes relate to my current questions, that is research questions, and do they actually relate? So think about these. Think about how do they relate to your research questions, what you're trying to achieve in here. Do they actually relate to these? Because in this way you can make a note and you can start thinking, the next round of codes, you may make a note and say, oh, do I have to re-examine my research questions, or do I have to re-examine my codes and themes because I'm sticking with my research question, and so on. And think about these. Do they actually relate to each other? This is very important. The third question that would help you is, what is the theoretical lens that you are using to come up with the codes, with the themes, and how does it link with your research questions? So say you're doing a PhD or a master's, you need some sort of a theoretical lens to help guide you, and all the way to data collection, to your research questions and how you come up with them. So think about these. Think about the theoretical lens that you've been using, or maybe a conceptual framework. And I've done a video that you can visit about the differences between a theoretical framework and a conceptual framework. So think about this. Think about your theoretical lens. And think about the codes and the themes and how do these relate and link with your research questions. The fourth question to ask is, what am I trying to achieve in here? So think about your contribution, after all, from whether it is your PhD or master's or maybe a project that you're doing altogether with other people. Think about your contribution, after all. Is it theoretical? Is it methodological? Is it empirical? Or is it a combination? Because each one of these will be reflected in some sort of a research question. So because that will help you ultimately think about your codes and themes and how they link with your contribution, after all. Okay, so that's a very useful question to ask. A fifth and final question that I put in here that you can ask yourself is, what would the outcome of my research analysis look like to answer my research questions? So think about the outcome of your research analysis and how would it look like to answer your research questions, because in a way you want to also guide the codes and themes, your thematic outputs, in some sort of a way, to help answer your research questions. So think about the outcomes, the outcome of your research, and think how does your codes and themes will eventually fit within that picture in relation to your research question. So hopefully this video gives you an idea and some useful tips, some useful questions to ask yourself when you do your first round of coding of your data and your thematic development. So you come up with some sort of themes with the codes that you have.